All right, let's start this all over again. So, we had a situation where, we up and down on this thing, and this didn't do anything, right? And as a matter of fact, it was actually, let's see, can I get it to? There we go. So, and this thing, came right out. It had actually fallen down, right? So it was all the way down there like this. And that's, the first thing people notice is, oh, my stopper's down, and it's not controlled by that. Well, when you finally get this thing out of here, you realize that it's covered in rust. Well, why is that? Well, to show you guys how this is supposed to work, on the back here, there's the rod that comes down that I was just controlling. This should have this thing connected to it. And in my case, mine's all covered in chicken wire, but that's another topic I'm going to discuss. So I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to require two hands to do it. But so I'll have to put the camera down for a minute because I'm doing this recording all by myself. But right here, there's a rod. And that rod connects. This should go through one of the holes in that thing that I just dropped. And what happens here is this rod rots out. So what I did here is the other side was all rotted out. You could see that the metal is gone, and it was so sharp that I ground it down on the pavement outside concrete and smoothed it out so nobody will cut themselves. But you can see that there's a detent here where the ball's supposed to be. But I grabbed a hammer and a piece of pipe, and so I had this thing sticking out, and I wanted to slide it all the way down to the other end of the pipe. So I put the pipe on there like that, and then tap on it with the hammer, bang, 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 right? And then that slides the ball all the way to the other end, so that I probably could have used the same rusty end, but that's going to rust out fast, right? Because it's already rusting. Whereas I said, well, let's go to the other end of this rod that's not rusting, and let's figure out. Now, I had to do a little bit of trial and error to figure out what's going to be perfect. If it's a little long, that's okay. But if it's too short, it just won't grab the edge here. So what's going on inside inside that thing is, when you pull up on the lever, that pulls this thing down, right? And it's caught in there, and it's going to pull that thing down. Whereas you push down on it, it's going to push it up, right? So what I did was I wanted to get the perfect adjustment so it's possible to be able to easily pull the stopper out, because a lot of times these stoppers get all clogged up with the nastiest of nasty, and I'd like to be able to clean them. So I want it to be just right. So that's the other benefit of this, is I'm able to adjust to put the ball exactly where I want. So the next step here is to put this back together, and now my rusty end is still going to be okay to attach to the rod that comes back. There's holes in the back, and I'll show you how that's supposed to go. Now, it's going to require that I put the camera down for a couple of minutes while I reconnect this stuff. So this here, as long as your drain's not clogged, this should not have much risk of leaking, right? And you want that so it can hold itself in place and still move. You don't have to go nuts on cranking it down. You see, I did finger tight. So this right here is going to be all the way down, but more importantly, I think I need all the way up to make sure that I get good flow. So I put that all the way up right now. And now, because the way I did this, I don't know if you can see down there, but I should have turned the light on before I did this video. But if I pitch this back as I'm going in there, I can just slide it over because of the way I adjusted that ball. Now, this is not connected yet. So the next step is to grab, most importantly, this clip here is the only thing that keeps that thing on. Now, I had lost mine, and so I grabbed it from another sink, and then I'd also broken this rod. So I lost, what is that? 2 holes worth, 3 holes, or 2 holes worth. So my rod is much shorter now. But so what I'm going to do here, and this is where the parts is really going to require 2 hands, unless I can get a miracle here. But I need this to be almost all the way at the end of this pipe. So just a little bit more up from where it is right now. And then I need to tighten the bolt down. What the heck? Let's see if I can just play this here, and I'm not sure what you'll see while I do that, but let's go ahead and I'm gonna first loosen this a little bit so I can get it up just a little bit more. And put it right there at the end of the pipe. And because that rod twists, I don't need to worry about this being positioned in the right direction. But these things do break because, and that's exactly what happened, it had been bent too many times. And you can see the ideal position for all the way up is not quite all the way down. So I'm going to have to lift that up just a little bit. But first, so let's make sure the camera's actually getting this. So now I've tightened down this nut right here. So now what I want to do is first put this over the pipe, right? And it wants to slide off because of the way it's going. But I know that I'm going to want it in this hole right here, and now it can't slide off anymore as long as that pipe's on there. And then I need to get that thing clipped on the back, and it's just kind of spring, hopefully that'll stay on there. And it was missing on this sink, so it's possible there's another one down there on the floor. But now, see, my stem is up a little bit. See, I think that the worry is that if somebody pushes down real hard, well, I guess it's going to be okay. I'm pushing down real hard, and it's got a little bend in the bar. So when I pull up on the bar, it goes up, and I've got it stopped. And push down. Now another much quicker thing that doesn't require a pipe or a wrench or anything is just take this thing, and I'll show you how you can do this. If it turns out that you don't want to go through all that, you can basically just wrap a rubber band around this. And here, let's see if I can set the camera down here and show you. So this is really not on camera, but just wrap this around a bunch of times, and the space that the rubber band creates. So let's see. So another option here, much quicker solution, is just wrap a rubber band around it. And maybe if it's not thick enough, you need 2, but I'm going to put this to the side where I know that it's not going to hit the bar, right? But you see it can just set right there. But not only that, in this case, I have the rubber band thickness just about perfect, so if I wanted to, I could actually push it all the way down. Of course, it's a real hassle to get back up. And some sinks, and if you don't have any fingernails, that can be harder. But this can be a much quicker fix if you don't want to use tools. So that way you don't at least, drop your whole toothbrush down there or something like that. So there's a couple of possible fixes for this that I wanted to share, and but for me, I think that other one's going to be perfect, and I can easily pull this out to clean because I was able to adjust where the ball sits. So there's a couple of silver lining to having to do this fix. So I'm going to take this rubber band off, pop that thing back in, and I'm all done. Not sure if this is going to be helpful to anyone, but I originally posted another video and didn't think it really mattered because it was a Pegasus faucet. Which Pegasus? What's that? That must be junk, right? And I noticed that the same thing happened to my mother-in-law. The same thing happened in 2 of our sinks. But this is a Moen, which I think is a much better grade of faucet. I wouldn't have expected this to happen with a Moen, but you can probably just buy another one of those rods and save yourself all this work and do it right. But rather than having to make a trip to Home Depot and spend money, showing you another option.